Zendikar versus Eldrazi. This is one of the dual decks they come out with. They come out with these pretty seasonally. I was able to pick one of these up pretty cheaply, so I thought we would just go over this a little bit and kind of look at it from a perspective of, first of all, are you getting quote-unquote your money's worth? But more importantly, if these are moderately fair, as in evenly matched up, and wouldn't they be fun? Good gift for yourself or someone that's getting into Magic. These things can be good kind of products for people that are into Magic and don't have big collections, so starting out players. They have cards that are only available in the new set, so if you really want to get your hands on something cool and new, it's an option too. So we're going to go ahead and open this up. One moment. Right here. Had Ash check to make sure the setup here is working right. We're not having any technical difficulties like last time. Alright, and we've got a kind of close up here so you guys can easily see it. You got some loot crate, 0 loot crate, mouse pad. We got that from one of the earlier loot crates we opened up on here. Alright. Yeah. Alright, so we do have kind of this fold out. Has a kind of an introduction into the theme. Ooh. And a little bit of rules. So this is a good product for brand new players. It's suitable for your first product, but I would say that once you kind of have a little bit more feeling what's going on with everything, as far as in basic rules and understanding of how stuff works. Here we go. We have the deck lists. We have the Eldrazi deck list. And as you guys can see, there's a couple from Battle for Zendikar in here. I'm going to set this aside. And we're going to get to the... Oh, there's the rules reference card, in case you guys don't know how to play, or the person you're handing this to doesn't know how to play yet. It tells you about the setup, the parts of the turn, all the basics. These decks tend to be a little bit more complicated than that, so you might not be able to rely on that solely. We've got dice, we've got cards. Right here we've got Avenger of Zendikar, a very powerful card. For those that have played Commander, which is a 100-card singleton format, this is a strong card to play in it, and also in cubes. We'll go more into cubes on another time and how to build your own. I have a tutorial cube of my own, and a good friend of mine has a popper cube, which is all commons, and they're both really fun. And this can go into a lot of different cubes. Not a popper, because it's obviously a rare, and in a beginner cube it's a little bit stronger than you may want. But it also comes with these cool little build your own deck boxes. We've got the Lush Eldrazi one, or sorry, Zendikari one, and we've got the sad, dead, old-looking Eldrazi one. You just pop those open, fold them up, fold them. This view's bad for folding. I'm trying to do it so it doesn't look awful. I have this close camera so you guys can see the cards better. Last thing me and Brad ran was a little bit hard to read, so whoop. Yay, it's a box. Alright, so let's get to the good stuff. Now, let's do the slow build-up. Let's start with the Zendikari side. And we've got our spin downs. It's a D20. It just has the Planeswalker symbol. You know, it would be cool if they had a different one, but they're convenient. They spin down, right? So you go 20, which is the symbol, 19, 18. Couple of life counters. Slide this over. So we've got our foil, Avenger of Zendikar, which is a cool card. And this is already buying you back a pretty solid chunk of the price of entry here. Cards like these, I'm not exactly sure the price on Avenger of Zendikar. I'd have to check. But I know it's more than a few bucks, and this whole thing was 20. And you're trying to get to roughly $20 of value in your uncommons and rares. Oh. We've got Scoop Mob, one of the best little 1/1s out there. It's green for a 1/1, and if you control 5 or more lands, you get 5 counters on it. Now it becomes a 6/6 the first time that happens, and then 11, and then etc. etc. So it's a really powerful card. It's a cool little card too that plays well with land ramping themes. Obviously, Avenger of Zendikar does that as well. It's not really worth that much. War Leader, Veteran War Leader is one of the new cards. They're re-showing off allies, and it's a 1 green white for human soldier ally, and it's a star. Its power and toughness equal to creatures you control. That's a pretty strong ability on itself, and it's tap another ally you control, and it gains first strike, vigilance, or trample. That's the kind of thing you can build around. It'll be fun. I don't expect this to be a constructed standard playable card, probably, but it is the kind of card when you see it limited, you'll be excited, and it's a fun card to build around. And these decks are about fun more than they are about being competitive in a constructed sense, like standard. Alright, so your Sundial is another card it's fun, you know, adds lands, it has a landfall theme. It's not worth a whole lot of money. Primal Command's worth a little bit there, and it's a card that can go in a lot of different cubes like we talked before, and EDH. There's a lot of that things going around. So this is the second kind of card we have with a little bit of value on it. Probably should have looked up the amount that these cards are worth so we could total it up. We might do that in a second after we get to all the cards. Stirring Wildwood is one of the, we call them man lands because they are creatures and lands. You can pay 1 green white and it becomes a 3/4 reach. That's pretty strong. This card actually has a little bit of value there too. It sees some play in Modern. It's a fairly powerful card. We're also seeing the level up mechanic represented here from Rise of Eldrazi. I don't think this card's powerful, but we see a couple of them. Beastbreaker of Belaged. This is the manliest looking card that exists in Magic. It looks like it's an Old Spice commercial. It's also a fairly strong card. It's not particularly valuable. We have things to enter, kind of go with the battle. Go with the landfall theme. This card can put cards from your library into play tapped, and at 4 mana you can do that every turn. You can get multiple landfall triggers whenever you want, which is pretty powerful. More level up cards, more allies. Generally good cards played defensively. Life gain cards based off of landfall. More ally cards. Let's see what else we have very exciting. So a lot of these cards are just kind of base level ally themed cards that'll make the deck play well, but may not be particularly exciting if you have cards like this before. So this is the part that makes it a good sort of starting collection. Is all these cards would be cards you'd be happy to have at the start of your collection, and the deck itself is going to play well. We've got the Kabira Vindicator, and this is a pretty cool card. You can level it up to give your other creatures +1/+1, and eventually +2/+2, so that's pretty powerful. The way level up works, by the way, guys, is you pay the level up cost. It's 2 colors and a white here. You put a counter on it, and it sort of gets stronger over time each time you put it on there. You can only level up as a sorcery. Doing it anytime you want would be a little bit too strong. And as they get higher, this one's level 2 through 4, it stays the same as a 3/6, but your creatures get +1/+1. And eventually, if you get it to 5+, you can make it bigger if you'd like, by the way. It becomes a 4/8 because other guys +2/+2. That's kind of cool. Mankini Griffin. Alright, so cards like Wildheart Invoker. Again, these are just like really cool commons to have in your collection for newer players. So I would think that this product would be aimed more at newer players. They would find this kind of deck with this cool synergy in it and these cards that they may not have or don't have copies of right now because they're older sets. Would be fun to play with. I think this would be a good gift if you had a friend or niece or nephew or son or daughter or brother or sister that wanted to play Magic, or cards like Haro, which are going to be played in a lot of your casual decks. Another new card, the Retreats. There's one of these for each of the areas of Zendikar, and Kinzandu is one of those areas, and it's an enchantment with landfall, and you get to choose the 1/1 counter or 2 life. Now the 2 life is the weaker of the two, but sometimes you don't have creatures, sometimes you need to gain life to get out of burn range or just survive attacks, so there's a lot of good stuff going on here. I think this is a pretty strong card. I'll be happy to try these cards out in Limited if the format is slow enough. Cards like this can be very powerful. Repeatable effects often are. This is another card, right? We talked about Awaken before. It lets you pay an additional cost to make one of your creatures, or sorry, one of your lands into a creature, and this will make it a 3/3 creature. It's a 0/0 3/1/1 counters, and it has haste. That's pretty strong. Destroying a tapped creature is also pretty good. So this is a kind of cool mechanic. We talked a little bit about it before, but it's a really good limited mechanic as well, because it lets you get value early or later on these cards. And we're in our lands. Evolving Wilds, you can never have too many of those for your casual collections. And again, the various kinds of two-color mana lands, like the Grey Pelt Refuge, are always nice to have. We have more lands with these effects, which is nice. Alright, we've hit the basic lands. I think that all we have left is basic lands. Basic lands! Oh, and we have tokens. These plant tokens. Our plant tokens that come from our Avenger. So, on the Zendikar side, we only have 3 cards that really had any significant value. So far, these cards aren't really adding up to enough to kind of pay back for the cost. But remember, the experience is worth quite a bit too. Now, here's Oblivion Sower, which is one of the new cards coming out. It has special art. It's a 5/8. It's a mythic in both sets. So it's going to be kind of cool, and it has that kind of unique art. Also, I do want to mention Avenger of Zendikar. This is new art for this as well, so those promos can often hold a premium there. Let's put it on over here. And let's see what we've got going on. Let's see if I can get it open. There's a little plastic sleeve. Put it over here. Magmal is a fun card. It's the kind of card you can build around. Now, I'm expecting to see a lot of small tokens. The Eldrazi originally had the Eldrazi spawns. 0/1s you could sacrifice for mana. And the new ones are the Eldrazi Scions. 1/1s you can sacrifice for mana. So this card can be powerful, although it's not really worth quite a bit. Butcher of Malachi is actually a card that holds a little bit of a premium because of EDH. There are certain cards that are powerful that hold a higher price just because of that. So we'll set that over here with our other good price point cards. It That Betrays is another one of those cards. It's a fun card. It's a big card, Annihilator 2, makes an opponent sacrifice stuff and you get it back. This doesn't work for tokens because the tokens get sacrificed and leave the game altogether, but everything else does. I'm not exactly sure on the price of it. We'd have to check, but I know at times it has. Consume the Meek is the kind of card. No, it's got new art. It's a good removal spell. It's mass removal. It's not currently seeing play in Modern, so it currently doesn't hold a price, but at different times it has been good in Standard. I don't think we'll see a reprint of it, so we'll go ahead and put that over here. Same thing for Hellion Eruption, another powerful card. Ruined Servitor, right? That's the kind of Eldrazi overtaking the various kind of artifacts in Zendikar, theme-wise. Bloodthorn Vampire, so we're going to see some tokens here to sacrifice. And I think this is a new card right here, yep. Forerunner of Slaughter, so it has Devoid, so it's a colorless card even though it costs black-red. And it can give a creature haste. Now, this is going to be a good card in Limited. I don't think it's quite good enough for Constructed, a 3/2, or for 2, or 1 colors and a 3/2 with haste, which is what it'll be if you have 3 mana. It's fine, but it's got a nice flavor. Remember that if you play your It That Betrays, and you've got 13 mana, you can use your Forerunner of Slaughter and give it haste, which is an exciting and terrifying prospect. Bloodrite Invokers, another one of those kind of cards. It's just okay. Dominator Drode has Devoid, but we also see Ingest, which exiles cards from your opponent's top of library whenever it deals damage. Now, just 1, but the returning things from exile to your opponent's graveyard is the processor mechanic. And we see it a little bit, so we'll see synergies with that. Also, this card has the last line of text, which rewards you for having colorless cards. Remember, Devoid cards are colorless cards, so that Forerunner, this Dominator Drone are colorless. They count for each other, and it makes your opponent lose 2 lives. So a fairly aggressive card. We've got a couple of those there. Torch Slinger, not really pulling its weight. Pawn of Ulamog is a really fun and powerful card. This is the kind of card I do like to have, because it's the card later on, as your collection grows from your small casual collection to your larger casual collection, it'll be a fun card to play with. Whenever it or another non-creature token dies, you get an Eldrazi spawn, a 0/1. So it's a really easy way to turn your creatures into additional creatures for sacrifice outlets, which we've seen a little bit going on here. Vampire Nighthawk, just a really solid card. Not really worth anything right now, but it's a kind of card I like to have around in casual collections. This we have the Eldrazi Miracle's Hatchers, right? 5 for 3/3. That makes 3 spawn tokens. The Crusher, so we're not really seeing too much that's value-wise great, but we're seeing a lot of exciting cards. Mindstone's the kind of card that's always somewhere between 50 cents or $1, and a large part of that's because It gets played in a lot of casual formats. It gets played in EDH. It's just a really strong card overall, right? It ramps you when you need the ramp, and then later it just turns into another card. You can draw it. You can pay 3, 2 to play it, and then 1 tap it, sacrifice it. So it's always doing the thing you want to do, whether you need more mana or you need more cards. Mindstone's got your back. Smother with the new art. Well, not the new art. I started playing an Onslaught block and it had different art then. Marsh Casualties, kind of a board wipe. Induced Despair. This is one of the kind of eldritch horror cards with the tentacles and stuff. That's a little bit intense. You gotta feel bad for that angel as the tentacles come down upon her. A couple Read the Bones. So a lot of these cards are just really backbone cards of casual kind of setups. Here, we'll go through these. You'll see more of the 2-color lands, which are exciting to have when you start your collection. They help you play different kinds of decks. Oh, Eldrazi Temple. I don't think this really holds a premium, but it is a strong card in this one. It goes in your Eldrazi deck, lets you kind of power your Eldrazi's a little sooner than you normally would. Remember, this basically counts as 2 lands as far as Eldrazi's are concerned, because it counts for taps for 2 mana. But if you don't have any Eldrazi spells, then it still taps for a colorless mana with no restrictions, which is a fairly powerful ability. Rocky Tar Pits, I really like these. So there's the fetch lands that cost quite a bit, right? You pay 1, sacrifice it to get a mountain or swamp. But the end of the battlefield fetches are quite a bit weaker, but also they're quite a bit cheaper. These run like 50 cents to $1. It's easy to pick up some. So if you want to build a fun 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 color deck, these can really help you build the deck without making your deck obscenely costly. The fetches cost anywhere from $30 to $40 for the older ones. I think the current ones are running like 10. So it can add up pretty quickly. And I think the rest of this is woo! Basic lands. We've got some spawns hanging out here. We've got our Hellion token, Spawn token, Hellion token, Spawn token, Hellion token, Spawn token. So you got some cool tokens to go with this too. Yeah, I can tell you just by eyeballing this that this is not $20 worth of cards per se. It's not like you're making out with some sort of ridiculous value-laden prospect by just buying these up. That said, I think for $20, this is a great deal for a new player, or somebody that's fairly new to the game. You're getting a lot of powerful cards, fun cards, flavorful decks that play well against each other. Me and Ash might play these decks against each other later. And both people are going to have a pretty good time overall. Annihilator's not the most exciting mechanic to play against, but we saw some things that made tokens that can help offset that. At first blush, I would probably sell the Eldrazi deck's going to kind of win a little bit more games just because their deck's a little bit higher on the mana curve, but the allied deck's not low enough to really probably take advantage of that as much as you'd like. But, I don't know, Wizards tests all these cards to make sure that they're not too terribly different for the most part. A lot of your value is going to come from the green cards from the allied deck, which, again, they're not real pricey cards. I will actually look these up really fast. You guys just give me 1 second. Let me scroll over to my sweet mouse. You guys can take a peek at these. Shift them out of the way. Shift them over here where you guys can read them. I tell you guys you could read them back to me, but I mean you guys can't because you're not here in the room with me, hanging out, looking at all these sweet new cards and fun cards. Ooh. All right, you go over to MTG Goldfish. It's not the perfect thing, but we can get a rough feeling for the total cost. Oh, hey, you know what? I'm wrong. If the Betrays is $5, it's a $5 card. So that's a fourth of your total cost right there. Let's look at Avenger. Avenger of Zendikar. Alright, that's $250. It's a little lower than I thought, but there's a lot of reprints of it. So that's already somewhere around $7 worth of cards. Primal Command. It's another 2. So that puts us about 9. So we're about half the cost back that you got. Which means if you're having fun with these cards or enjoying them, you're really getting a good deal, right? You don't have to go dollar for dollar to make your cards worth your while. Alright, but your Mario card doesn't have any price, because it's not worth anything. I didn't know that that was going to be the case. Alright, I think Oblivion Sower is worth like $2. Here we go, Oblivion Sower. It's worth 4. So it's 9, takes us up to 13. Alright, are you worth $20 Stirring, or sorry, $7? Stirring Wildwood? Stirring Wildwood is $7, you made it. It's worth $1.50. So, you know, this set of cards as a whole, for the rares wise, is worth about $5 less than the cards bought maybe individually. That is assuming that you can get this thick stack of cards for that amount. And you want to go all through all the work of looking them up, finding them out, and etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, I mean, really what you're getting here is this kind of a fun experience. For more serious players, you are getting a couple cards early, which is fine, but it's not really that big of a deal. But for newer players, you are getting the 2 deck boxes. Nah, where did that go? Let's just scroll these down a little further. You get a big fat stack of cards. You get the deck box. You get another deck box. Come on down here. Come on down here, the deck box. So, kind of a whole package experience for 2 people to play. I like the dual decks for that reason. I picked up a lot of them. I don't expect to have some sort of return value on them. But they can be fun to play, even for more experienced players. If you're getting someone new into the game, having things like dual decks already kind of pre-tested to be fairly even, to be fun decks to play. It's a great way to get into casual Magic, or a great way to kind of expand your collection into feeling what this era of Magic felt like. This original Zendikar, Rise of Eldrazi feel. When you first, if you weren't playing at the time. I was, fortunately. So I really enjoyed that time. Rise of Eldrazi is a great draft set, probably one of the best, and it's fun to play Constructed too. A friend of mine has a Rise of Eldrazi cube that he plays, and it's a blast. Zendikar Limited was kind of fast, but Zendikar Constructed was an exciting time too. Allies wasn't a tier 1 strategy, but it's a fun strategy. Just like people love playing Slivers, Allies has that same kind of total feel. So, yeah, I would say that if you get a chance picking up this core set, or not this core set, sorry, this dual deck is probably going to hold up pretty well for your fun value, for your overall value. If you got someone you can bust it open with and play, have some good games with, especially, again, if they're a newer player, you're really getting your money's worth. You're really getting this experience that I would recommend, and I mean, obviously Wizards recommends it because they built these to be played by those newer players, right? You can root for your Zendikar. Zendikari, we see that kind of half Zendikari right here, half Eldrazi with their scary tentacle things. And you can choose if you're some evil dudes trying to eat all of the mana out of the world, or trying to save the world and all the mana it stands for. If you guys like seeing me kind of bust more stuff, tell me. I'll be happy to pick up more product to open up and kind of review it and talk about it. Me and Brad are be getting either a case or a box of Battle for Zendikar. So that's going to be exciting. And we'll be busting that open there with a little bit more favor because of the expeditions. Remember, those are the lands that are super crazy and super expensive and super awesome. But also just kind of talking about the cards themselves. But if you want to see me open a more specialty product, like dual decks or that kind of stuff, I'll be happy to do that too. I enjoy kind of talking about how it's designed to be played for people, right? these products aren't aimed necessarily at the highest level players. We do have some stuff that is aimed at higher level players, things like Commander product or Modern Masters, that kind of stuff, which is cool too. But a lot of this casual stuff, remember, that's the lifeblood that kind of keeps Magic going, is the kind of supplementary product. So I know this was a short stream, so we're going to be wrapping up. But hopefully tomorrow or the next day we'll have some more stuff coming out. We've got those other videos posted up on here. Remember, they're at YouTube, Mobius Pick. And you can check out some of the older stuff that me and Brad did earlier this week and last week. I've been posting little bits up here and there. This will go up later today as well. So if you guys want to reach us and tell me what you'd like to see me open, easier to access, so moderately newer stuff you guys see in the stores, is stuff I'd prefer to stay to right now. But that's at mobiuspick@gmail.com to reach us. And I think that's it for tonight, guys. Thanks for hanging out for a bit and looking at all this cool, sweet specialty product. And just roll the dice and we'll be out of here. And you guys can't see the dice because I didn't make it. It looks like it's a 4.